Hello. I am here to ramble a little bit about, in particular, seams and sewing. So, you know, keep listening if that's something you're interested in. Because this week just gone, I did a cosplay sewing course for beginners in my local area. And this video, it kind of came about because I'm standing here ironing some stuff, and one of the participants, a really sweet lady, she was giving herself quite a lot of grief trying to pin up an edge. She was like hemming, so like the base of a blouse she was working on. And the seam, or like the hem, had like a slight curve to it, as you often do with blouses, the like base of blouses. And the seam kept curling on her and not laying flat and giving her little wrinkles as she was working. Obviously with my expertise, we managed to make it pretty flat in the end. So like, you know, with pinning and ironing, it turned out really good in the end. But it just, you know, standing here now working, I'm ironing a skirt. And it's a good skirt, it's good materials, good quality, price was decent. But looking at it made me think, if you're a beginner starting out with sewing in any capacity or form, I want you to give yourself grace. Because if you start looking at your own clothing you purchased, not made, and start looking at the seams and the hems of this, you will find that even though you've never noticed it before, now that you've dabbled or started sewing, you will see that it's not just you. This is surprisingly common with commercial made stuff. And give yourself grace, because if H&M and all of these other big brands can sell you things with crooked hems because it's difficult to get a good hem in curved areas, then give yourself grace, especially in the beginning when you're working on making your own clothes or cosplays. So I'm gonna take you off the stand now so you can have a look with me what I'm talking about. Or maybe I'll just come closer, because honestly the lighting is pretty good here. So to start off with, it's the skirt I am ironing. I will step back and show you. So this is the skirt in all its glory. It's like a denim cotton kind of thing, and it wrinkles really easily, so I have to iron it before I wear it. And I'm gonna look in the viewfinder more on you right now. But obviously there is a hem on the skirt, and while in some places it's actually pretty good, in most places, see this? This is not smooth, and it gets worse because start looking here. See how it's wrinkly and crooked and not laying flat? And even when you iron it, there's no way of making this perfectly straight unless I redo this myself. And look at that. That's probably the worst of them all. This is not flat one bit. And this skirt was like 500 kroner in the region. So, you know, I'm not expecting perfection, because the people sewing this up is probably not getting paid the adequate amount for it. But if you can buy something for that price and you still have crooked seams, give yourself grace. And this does not go for just cotton fabrics either. You will see it with t-shirts, for instance, or blouses and skirts. So this is another example. This is from Cotton On Australia. I really like Cotton On, and this top is kind of old, but like, as you can see, it's like a little bit of a cropped moment. Quite like it. Straight parts, actually pretty good. But as soon as you get to the curves, because it curves a little bit down the bottom here, you will see, here we go, we have our first fold already. A little bit harder to see because the fabric is white. So I'll take you to the back here. Here we go. Can you see that? The background's not as white, but you can see there's like one massive fold here. And even with ironing, this is something like I'm gonna struggle to get to look straight. So we've got this curved seam, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 of these big folds. It happens, whether it's like a cheaper piece of clothing or a more expensive piece of clothing. So if you're starting out sewing, whether that's for cosplay or private clothing for your own wear, start having a look at the things you purchased already, and you might find yourself a little bit surprised about what you're seeing. And don't hold yourself to these incredibly high standards, especially starting out, because if they can get away with it commercially, so can you. Anyway, that's it for my little fabric ramble of the day. There are ways to avoid this or make it better. It's just painstaking time, some to do with the fabric and the cutting and like whether or not you stretch it while you sew and whatnot, but sometimes there's just not much avoiding it. So yeah, give yourself some slack.